Hey everyone, it's Mallo, your host of IDENTECO After Dark and the creative director here for IDENTECO. Before we get started, I just wanted to let you know that this episode is brought to you in part by Gamers Heaven and their newest location just north of Seattle, Washington. There, in a family-friendly and welcoming environment, you can play tabletop or video games, read manga, or just relax with friends and sample some amazing drinks from their boba tea bar. If you want to learn more, log on to gamersheavenseattle.com to see hours and location. Now let's get on with the show.
Hello, Fringers. The following podcast may not be suitable for all ages. Listener discretion is advised. Hello, everyone, and welcome to tonight's episode of IDENTECO After Dark, our nerdy little podcast where we talk about gaming, music, TV, music, and more. I got the intro screwed up, whatever. My name is Mallo. I am joined, as I always am, with my co-conspirator, Alex the Humanoid. Alex, say hello to the people.
Is it summer yet? It needs to be summer now.
It's close.
I'm done with cold.
You're done with cold. Well, it's warmer out, I guess.
Kinda.
Kinda? Yeah.
Kinda.
I mean, I'm in Celsius, so it's 9. I'm in proper.
9.
I'm in proper. It's 9.
Improper.
Yeah. I like to use nice round numbers as opposed to Fahrenheit, which is just weird as shit.
Next thing you're gonna do is you're gonna switch over to the 24-hour clock like the rest of the world.
I already do. In certain things.
See?
You're one to talk military, boy. I don't want to hear that.
I try and excise all of that from my brain when I leave there. So.
Hi, everyone. It's Wednesday.
Yep.
I kind of use a 24-hour time because work. I know. I work 24 hours a day, so, you know, it's easy when that's all you do, right? I don't know. How's everybody doing tonight? Welcome to everybody in chat. Welcome in. I have a bunch of people at the top of the show that I need to thank because we didn't do it last week.
We did not.
And boy, howdy did it get even longer in between there. So, if you're joining us live in the show, thank you. Drop your Twitch Prime subs down below. Use Amazon's money and you support the show. You can also support the show with all the links down below. We got affiliate links for Hero Forge. We got it for Strategy Coffee. Friends of ours, so you can drink some coffee while you're listening to the show. As well as our merchandise. So playidenteco.com. It's where you can find out just about everything about the show. Including adventures, pre-gen characters, merchandise, and more. It's all there for you. It's a lot of fun. It's a good looking place. If I do say so myself. I'm just saying. For those who did subscribe and do all that good stuff last week, it is a very long list. Including Bit Player that's here in the chat with some new and gifted subs last week. I'm just gonna machine gun these real quick. Levicarus, Ride the Storm, Kramer, Wixie, Fred Greenleaf, Crazy C, Chrome Tiger, Variga, Jelena Listen. I messed that completely up. Geekosaurus Rex, Umber Opes, and Funplay 321. I like that reading that last one. Funplay 321 go. And if you haven't already gone to our YouTube channel and hit subscribe, it's now youtube.com/IDENTECO. Go over there, hit that subscribe button, and ring the bell notification so you don't miss any of our on-demand content, because there's a lot of it coming, and there's even more coming in the future. So you don't want to miss out on any of that, I promise. Thank you to Tim Hadley, Pelvis1420, Adam Johnson, Josh Howell, Chase Crawford, Chris Williams, everybody. That's a lot of new subs. YouTube has been alerting us to all of the new subs.
That's actually interesting because I recognize one of those names, and I'm kind of surprised.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That it took them this long, or that they did it anyways?
We kind of lost contact.
Oh, okay.
So that's interesting.
All right.
So, thank you. Yeah. Wow. It has been, I will say this, it has been, our growth rate has been better lately, and that's all of you. and all of you helping us out and telling us stuff, and telling people about it, and we appreciate it. And so anytime you can share or favorite or do any of that for us, it always helps us. It helps us, fight the algorithm.
Yeah.
And get out there more, so we can bring you more fun content.
Spread the good kind of propaganda out there, not NFTs. Support us. We're like NFTs, but way cooler. And fungible tokens, I guess. I don't know. There was a joke there, but yeah.
We can start with NFTs. Somebody is suing over a Pepe the frog butt NFT.
I need like that Daily Show bullshit like thing when it's like it's the NFT report and it just comes up and goes wow.
Yeah. In case you weren't sure if the simulation was breaking, it is breaking right now. So there was a $500,000 lawsuit over a Pepe the Frog butt NFT. That's a thing that's happening because some brilliant person, and this actually kind of frustrates me. Somebody had the money to spend $547,000. $547,000 and change on a Pepe the Frog butt NFT. What does that say about what you have to do with your money?
I don't know, because I don't have that kind of cash. I don't buy NFTs. I don't really even buy like Magic cards or Warhammer that much anymore. So like, like that's a lot. You could make a whole new Tyranid army for $500,000 and get it painted.
Do you know what kind of Identico content we could put out if Mallo and I were handed $547,000?
There would be a lot of people that would get paid to do that because there's still only 24 hours in the day.
There is, but if we had $547,000, we could quit.
Possibly,
doing
yes.
other things.
Yeah.
And just do Identico. Like, that could be a thing. But no, someone bought a Pepe the Frog butt NFT. And the simulation is breaking. 2021 is working. Or sorry, are we in 2022 now?
We're in 2022. 2021 didn't work either. 2021.exe stopped working about 30-something thousand days ago. Like,
okay. This is the problem too, because we have been in this constant state of for the last 2 years.
Oh, it's been longer than that.
No, it's I kind of count the start of the lockdown, like when everybody got sent home, and I had to remind. So I was on the phone with our franchise people, and I had to remind them, like, the first detected cases in the U.S. were in Seattle. The first major corporations to send people home were in Seattle. So if you're not in the metro area, like, it hit us first.
Yeah.
Like, we were the first places where it was like, well, I guess we're done now.
Guess I'll die. I mean, that's kind of what it turned into up here. It was just like, well, I guess we're screwed. All those sci-fi books were right.
Yep.
Joe in chat say
pallets
of Doritos for all if you had 540,000K. Chat, what else would you do with 540,000K?
Yeah,
let's throw the wild stuff out there. Let's go for it.
Let's do it. Chat, tell us what you would do if you had $540,000 that we just set in your bank account right now. And don't give me that responsible stuff. I pay off my student debt. I invest in my house. No. All right? Because we would all do that, okay? We would all do, like, some responsible stuff.
I actually believe that some of the people in chat with their ideas are actually what they would do with $540,000. They wouldn't be responsible at all.
Give me the stuff. All right? Lila, I see you there in chat, right? Tell me what you would do if you had $540,000. And Grandpa Joe's saying, stay with me. Oh, boy. Uh-oh. Is he saying that he's going to buy trampolines and pallets of Doritos for all? Or I thought he was maybe referring to quarantine and what we all had to do to survive.
I am very scared as to what's about to happen in chat. Tesla BattleBot Arena. They say Tesla BattleBot Arena. Okay.
Take a masterclass in investing in finance. I can give you that masterclass in about an hour and a half.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. Like
That's the
sadly, that's the case. All right. Unless you are like independently wealthy, don't get involved in the stock market. My other life advice is don't join the military. Okay.
You heard it here first, folks.
Yep. Don't do it. I don't know if 540,000 covers that. Probably not. Like, you can't risk anything you can't afford to lose in that market. And sadly, that's the way that it's done. I didn't say it'd be a quality arena Earthbound. You know what? We could build it out of like dirt berms.
Berms. I'm thinking of like dirt berms and like oil tank trash cans and like old tires, like used Teslas. You
Built
could
for the
built from the
pallet of Doritos. Nice.
I mean,
yes. Okay. So
there you go.
does anybody buy used Teslas? I didn't even know if you can buy a used Tesla.
You can.
You must be able to. Okay.
You can. It's very difficult, I think.
I know Washington is one of the only states where you can buy a Tesla directly from Tesla because we don't have that stupid car dealership law.
Ordering a used Tesla is on
so
Tesla.com.
He's going to go look this up right now.
Yeah.
Right. And while we're talking about the simulation breaking, the headline that I saw yesterday, and this is great, and I actually love this. Okay, so Into the Spider-Verse is probably one of my top 3 comic book movies of all time. Right? And just from a pure technical standpoint, I think it's one of the greatest animated films ever made. And so it was only a matter of time before we got live action Miles. So here's the thing. Supposedly, Will Smith gave a cryptic statement to Pop Time, seemingly confirming rumors that his son has been cast as Miles Morales for a live-action Spider-Man. And I'm not sure how to feel about that.
I mean,
look, I thought he was fine in the Karate Kid reboot with Jackie Chan. I actually thought that movie was a lot of fun. Okay. Was it a great piece of cinema? No. Was it fun and just kind of silly to watch? Absolutely. But I saw After Earth. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And that.
I didn't see either of those movies. So.
Okay. Now, part of that is M. Night Shyamalan's fault because that guy lost his mind like sometime after making Signs, and some of the stuff he puts out now is
Did he have it to begin with? Because every M. Night Shyamalan Ding Dong movie all ends the same way. In slight arousal and confusion as you leave the movie theater.
Goofball twist at the end.
Yeah. It's like his biggest line, I think, was the I see dead people, right? That was his line?
Yeah.
That was his movie?
Yeah, that's his movie. That was the one that got him on the map.
Yeah, but like that's all the one that everybody like saw from like 5 miles away too. Like it was pretty obvious what was happening. I don't know. I'm very confused. He's up there with like J.J. Abrams as like, why do y'all keep giving this guy movies to make? Like, why do y'all keep greenlighting him? Do they really make that much money? Maybe they do. Maybe I could go look it up on IMDb.
Do. All right, chat. So yeah, that's what we got. Miles Morales, maybe Jaden Smith. I don't know how well that's going to go over. I also think it wouldn't have killed them because Miles Morales is a black Puerto Rican character. For them to find somebody who is actually
black and Puerto Rican,
black and Hispanic at least.
Yeah.
I would assume Hollywood goes for safe bets. So that was some of that was some of the speculation I saw, is that if Jaden's doing this, that Will's part of the deal, and that Will playing Miles's father in a live action Miles Morales movie would be the only way it would get done. And here's the thing, Will Smith's nominated for, he's a great actor. He's a box office draw. He's one of the few actors I think these days can actually draw people to the box office by his name alone. I think there is a certain segment that will go because he's in it. I haven't seen it yet, but I heard his performance in King Richard was amazing. He got nominated for an Oscar for it. And he also got nominated for a SAG award, which is probably a bigger deal because it's the actors who decide that.
Yeah, the Oscar is just a PR play.
But and so that's some of the speculation that I saw, was that this was a way to bring him into the MCU. And
Where does that put him with where does that put him though with Childish Gambino and all them? Because he was he playing a cousin or was he playing the uncle?
No, he's playing the uncle, right?
Yeah, the uncle. Okay.
You see, Donald Glover does a cameo, if you don't recall, in Spider-Man: Homecoming,
Yep.
as Miles' uncle, who is the villain Prowler in the comic books. And is a big piece of Miles' development as Spider-Man. And actually, in Into the Spider-Verse, he was played by Mahershala Ali, who's going to be playing Blade for the MCU.
I mean, this is just, though, like, what it's setting up for, though. If this is true, right? We'll play it out here. So, like, Will plays the dad, right? You've got a movie now where you've got Jaden Smith, you got Will Smith, and you've got Donald Glover playing 3 major roles in a movie. Like, that's pretty dope. Like, if you think about it, like, that's a really good, you know, you got to obviously build out the rest of the supporting cast, but that's a solid lineup.
And in my opinion, Jaden Smith is the weakest of those 3, and he's carrying the movie.
I know. I'm not saying it's good, but it's a draw at least, you know.
Earth Expo says they gotta watch the new Spider-Man movies. Look, I recommend the new Spider-Man trilogy, Homecoming, Far From Home, and No Way Home. I think they kind of hit it out of the park with all 3 of them. I thought they did well.
Yeah.
I have no major complaints about this thing, and if you haven't seen Into the Spider-Verse, like, leave the stream right now and go watch that movie.
I kind of would rather see, like, if I'm being honest, like Miles Truitt or like Marcus Scribner or, I mean, even Miles Brown. Like, that would be like, I mean, he comes from ABC.
Miles Brown is one of the ones I saw that they were like, they should do him.
It would be, I mean, he was fantastic. I don't know if anybody out there seen the comedy series Blackish, but like, that's just one of those like seminal comedies. Like, we're going to look back at that in 20, 30 years and be like, nah, that was still trailblazing then. And he's just, his wit and his delivery and just everything in that show is fantastic. And like, he looks the part too, you know, like, that'd be cool. Like, I'd love to see that.
Yeah, I would love to watch. Look, and I want to see Miles Morales in the MCU. I was super stoked when they teased it in Homecoming. I think he's a great character. And I think that would add a lot of depth to the thing. And Tom Holland had an interview where he's like, I think we need to see more of the Spider people, right? We need to see Spider-Woman. We need to see, you know, all those people who are in that Spider family. And I think it'd be good to have that. I also think you could do a lot with Tom Holland if you do it in almost a similar way to what they did in Into the Spider-Verse, where now that Tom Holland, I mean, quite frankly, he's the grizzled vet at this point.
He could be, but
he fought in the Civil War, he fought in the Infinity War, you know, he's fought all these villains, and so using him as the mentor for Miles, right? And teaching him what it means to be Spider-Man would be, I think, a good push to take Tom Holland out of the set he's in right now.
Well, and he's still young enough that you could make the connection almost like the Spider-Man game where the 2 of them were together, right? Like when you play the Miles Morales version of it and stuff like that. Like, it still makes enough sense. You could have enough bad guys on screen where it made enough sense to have the 2 of them there for a little bit too, you know. In other sort of like Spider-Man rumor news, that Sydney Sweeney might be playing Black Cat in one of the upcoming movies. That's one of the ones that's kind of like to be bringing in more of the Spider-Verse. Like,
The problem is that I think until we see Multiverse of Madness and we see Morbius, which is the movie that I'm not looking forward to at all.
Why is that? Oh, hold on. You can't gloss past that one. Why don't you want to see it?
I've watched all the trailers and there is just nothing about it that I'm like, yeah, I want to see this. Like Venom was good. Mm-hmm. And I thought Sony did well with it, but I don't see what they're doing with Morbius.
I mean, it looks like it's going to be kind of the horror version of it. You know,
I
don't know. I'm not a huge. All of the spinoffs. I mean, Venom was like okay for me. It was an okay kind of thing for me. The one with Morbius, it just looks like it's almost like it feels a little bit like the original Blade movie. That like yes,
See,
Blade
I love
is
that movie.
Yeah, but like in the time that it came out, which was late 90s, I want to say late 90s, early 2000s. When did Blade come out?
No, yeah, it was definitely. It came out in 90. Yeah. I loved that movie.
Yeah, but it fits the late 90s, right? And you've got, now when you look back on it, it's got the nostalgia feel. Morbius feels like it should have been made in the late 90s, but it's being made in 2022. And those two things clash to me.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think you're wrong there. Yeah. I really don't. It just, like I said, I don't know what Sony's doing, right?
I don't know. I'm not entirely convinced they know what they're doing. And I'm not trying to rag on them. I think they've just like, let's throw good ideas at the wall and see what happens.
They know better than what Warner Brothers does with the DC. Oh. I'm skipping Morbius until it's on HBO or Disney Plus. It will not probably come out on either one of those because it's a Sony property. I don't know where it's going to go. Because it's a Sony property, it does not.
And Sony does not yet have their own streaming service,
I don't think they want it. Like if you wanted to go watch Venom Let There Be Carnage, you have to go to the FX, well, Venom is currently on the FX Now app. Let There Be Carnage.
Oh, Sony owned Crackle. I didn't know that. I probably should have because I've done dealings with them before in the past. I did not know they were backed up by Sony.
You can watch it on Row 8, Prime Video, Vudu Movie TV Store, or Apple TV.
Yeah.
Like Sony, and I don't know if Sony wants to start a streaming service. I think Sony realizes, and very intelligently, that market is super it's just bad right now.
I think what we're seeing,
too many.
So just to kind of like hit on this a little bit too, because CD sales, I think, and I don't know if we talked about this last episode or not, but CD sales for the first time in history went up last year. Like people started, like vinyl sales have been steadily going up, and now CD sales have joined it. And I think what we're starting to see, and this is just me putting a bit of a flag in the ground, and we'll see. I think we're starting to see the fact that like people are getting tired of the streaming services as much as they're getting tired of the constant like cable thing, and like people are going back to just wanting to own a piece of content and being able to just play it. Like I don't want to have to go find, not that we're to this point in music, but like the new Ghost album just came out last week.
Yeah,
phenomenal fucking album, by the way. And they always do a whole funny series on YouTube. Like it's the most satanic thing in the world that doesn't actually like come across as satanic because it's so goofy and how they present themselves. And it's amazing. It's an experience. It's a lot of fun. It's all these kind of things too, right? They made it very clear that like you just go buy it from Bandcamp. It's $5. Here you go. You know, if you want to own it, there you go. Or stream it in the Bandcamp app or whatever. Like, yeah, it's available everywhere else. But if you want to own it and get it as a lossless, file because you want to listen to it at home, here you go. This is how you do it, you know? And they're not shy about it, you know?
And I wonder, and we haven't seen any backlash on this yet. And I always wondered what would happen to CD and DVD sales if, and I don't think this is going to happen. So like this, but like, it's always been in the back of my mind because I got into buying digital media. I was a fairly early adopter, and I was in the Apple ecosystem early because I bought a lot of music from iTunes. Because I bought a lot of music for iTunes. I used them on deployments and stuff like that because I would load them to my little iPod, right? Same thing with TV shows and movies. So I was always curious what would happen if everybody was like, if one of those major sellers of digital media just went down.
Yeah.
Like, would it suddenly wake everybody up and go, you know what? I kind of want to own some of this media and not just basically lease it.
Yeah.
From a company, be it Amazon, Apple,
or
Microsoft.
I mean, in some ways, it is. In some ways, it's one of those things where you might just want to lease it, old school rental, which is something you can do on, I think, YouTube, Apple, and Amazon. You can just rent it and be like,
to me,
$4.
This
here you
is
go.
This is what the streaming services are to me, right? People are like, you pay so much for streaming services. So I'm like, yeah, but when I was a kid, we'd go to Blockbuster or Hollywood Video every Friday night, and you'd rent 2 movies and a Super Nintendo game, and that was probably $8 or $9, right?
Yeah. It's an
I don't
equivalent.
have an issue with it.
It's an equivalent, and I see a couple of folks in the chat that were like, Spotify for ease of finding music, and there's a ton of people still on free plans on a lot of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I think music on YouTube is still one of the number one use cases of that platform. Is just watching music videos and making playlists and all that kind of stuff.
I still watch a lot of music videos on YouTube.
Well, it's interesting too because music videos alone are just making a comeback as a media. Like, it's just as a way of popular, putting music out there. It's back, And
I fully credit YouTube for that, actually.
Yeah. No. I 100% do. Yeah.
YouTube is generally how I share music with people. Still in the chat. Yeah, because it's a free platform. You can send it to people. The links are easy. There's great share functions on YouTube. Look, I have no issues with any of that. I haven't knuckled under about Spotify Premium yet because I already have 7 streaming services. I don't really count Prime because my wife wants Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
And my Prime stuff just comes with that. And they've got some good stuff on Prime. Okay. So if you don't watch Prime, right, they've got some good stuff there.
Well, we can segue into a little bit of D&D, but the Legend of Vox Machina was actually a really good show. I haven't made it all the way through all of it, but there's been enough of it where I've looked around and been like, yeah, this is quality, this is funny. It's all crude humor, which is fine.
What you expected.
Yeah, it's kind of what you expect out of that group though, because it's for all the things that people want to hold a Critical Role up, and they're the bastions of storytelling and all of this kind of grand thing and stuff like that. No, half the show is dick jokes, which again is fine by me. If you've ever heard Angel City Stories, I'm totally fine with that. Add tamales and I'm gonna throw a copyright strike at them. But you know what I'm saying? It's a good one. The Boys is the same way. Invincible was really good. There's a ton of decent content on there.
I will tell you my favorite show on Amazon Prime, and y'all chat, y'all can bust my chops all you want. This show is quality, and it is one of the best TV shows that I have seen in 5 years. Mm-hmm. It's definitely in my top 20, and that is The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel.
That one's pretty good. It's not my cup of tea, but it's a good show. The cast is lovely to work with.
The addition of the guy that got to play Lenny Bruce, who does a great job playing Lenny Bruce. The episodes they had with Wanda Sykes, where she played a very famous black comedian from the 1950s. She played Mom's Mabley.
Yep.
And amazing performance by her doing Mom's Mabley in that show. So if you haven't checked out Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, I highly recommend it. I love Tony Shalhoub too.
Yeah,
I mean, also in that show.
Love Tony Shalhoub though. Come on now.
I don't care what he's in. Like Men in Black, great.
Yeah,
right? This
that
show's
was a good
great.
one too.
Tony Shalhoub is just really good at what he does. So if you haven't watched that show, it is one of my favorite ones that they are still doing. They're actually in the middle of their 4th or 5th season right now. They're
just being
released.
Yeah.
Yep, it just came back. So Prime's got some good stuff on it. You know.
Well, it's also got The Expanse, which I know everybody in the sci-fi world really. There's a lot of folks that really love that one, and they took it on, so all the past episodes and stuff are on Prime now too. And
I'll tell you this: what's going to be interesting is to see what happens to the Prime subscription numbers when that Lord of the Rings show comes out.
Yeah, I'm kind of interested to see it as well. Fun note: I just brought up Amazon Prime, and Spaceballs is on Prime to stream for free. So
thank you.
Yeah, right there, man.
Right there.
Definitely doesn't go from suck to blow right there. So there you go.
I'll be honest. Right now, the progenitor of the streaming services, Netflix, is the weakest one in my opinion.
It very much
right
is,
now.
Yeah.
It's just they are struggling.
They're struggling, and I don't see a path out for them just yet. And with the merger of HBO and Discovery Plus happening soon, which is going to bring along my favorite pastime of all time is watching professional wrestling. It brings AEW possibly on a streaming service under Warner Media again. Like, it's just going to make everything better, I think.
They're going to get away from AT&T.
Yes.
And Discovery Plus's CEO, in particular, is known for letting creatives be creatives. He's just like, go do your thing.
Yeah, but he is also a little bit of a hard ass too on the numbers. So
he's a hard ass too on the numbers, but he's also reasonable about expectations, which is, I'll be honest, like, that's how Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives has, like, stayed on the air, right? It never had huge ratings.
Oh, it pulls in amazing streaming number, though.
Yes, but it did what it was supposed to do.
Yeah.
It was a great feeder show for the Food Network. That's what they wanted.
Yeah.
And it does what it did.
No, Food Network does the thing that every TV channel wishes it could do, and it builds brands. Right? It builds brands, and it builds multifunctional, I don't want to say corporate synergies, but that's, I mean, kind of, right? Like,
that's what it is.
You build brands and franchises that are extensible across a lot of different media. And let's be honest, nobody doesn't know who Guy Fieri is now. For a lot of reasons, but like nobody doesn't really know who that is.
And a lot of people used to bust his chops about like who he was. I love Guy Fieri. I liked Guy Fieri years ago.
Well, they bust his chops on the way he looks and stuff, but he's a character. It's all part of the brand building, right? Like he has that personality that comes out, and
you
he has
know
the look
him when you see him.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's just it's an interesting sort of vibe in a way, and they do that with all of it. They've got a template for HGTV shows that they've created a bunch of brands on. They had Mythbusters back in the day, which brought back BattleBots and all of those. Like, they've got all these different initiatives and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's actually funny. One of the heads of marketing for NASA, I think, used to be the head guy for Discovery, I think. Like, the head of programming, I think, over there. So, like, they know their audience, you know?
Moving Warner Media away from AT&T and giving them to Discovery with that merger is going to be nothing but good things for Warner Media.
I am interested to know, though, because I pay for both HBO Max and Discovery Plus, because like Disney Plus, I get... Yeah, but how much is it going to cost me is a question, because if...
I don't think they're going to... Here's the thing. Disney is pushing them hard on their pricing, because Disney's not raising pricing. And that's what Netflix is doing right now. It's horking people off, but Netflix doesn't have a choice. Disney's like, we can do this for years. Right?
Disney just spits out, I could do this all day.
All day, right? Because they're like, $8? Fine. Got it. No problem.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, for $8, the amount of content they put on there, every season of The Simpsons ever,
Yeah.
that alone is $8. Right? Like,
I would
That
like
was
to. I would like to.
insane.
This is great content that we're talking about here, but I would like to point out three. I would like to point out 3 pieces of content I just found on Prime Video.
Okay.
The
Go.
first is called Llamageddon. I would like to read you the description of Llamageddon.
Okay.
A killer llama from outer space crash lands on Earth and begins raining havoc on a group of unsuspecting college partiers. Fan-fucking-tastic. Then I would like to read you the next one. Jesus Christ Vampire Hunter. The second coming is upon us and Jesus has returned to Earth. But before he can get down to the serious business of judging the living and the dead, he has to contend with an army of vampires that can walk in the daylight. Combining kung fu action with biblical prophecy and a liberal dose of humor, this film teams the savior with Mexican wrestling hero El Santos against mythical horror. I have one last one.
Go ahead.
Killer Sofa. When a killer lazy boy chair falls in love with a girl, it's up to a disgraced Jewish rabbi and a couple of broken-hearted detectives to go figure out how to stop the bloody carnage that will follow.
So, all this tells me is so Sean and I have been for years, as kind of an inside joke for us, we've been like, they should be greenlighting us to write movies because we would do way better than half the shit that is just out there. Okay, we're watching Llamageddon tonight right now. Congratulations, Sean. You got someone to watch Llamageddon. It will get at least one more view today for that. So good job.
I have no affiliation with the creators of Llamageddon, by the way. So, you know,
I'm telling
fantastic.
You, okay, like we could be ready. You and I should do better stuff than that in our sleep. Oh my god.
I love it.
It's okay. It's okay. I'm sure they'd hired you. BitPlayer, if you have any way to get them in touch with us where they will hire Sean and I to write like movies, I would love to hear it because that's the problem. You got to get in front of them and pitch. Because like, you know, Rhett Reese and Paul Wernick are writing the new Deadpool movie again. So they've got those two back to write Deadpool 3 for Disney/Marvel. Yep. And I think that Sean and I could do the same
I would
thing.
have a lot of fun with Deadpool. I would. I don't think I would win an Oscar with it, but I would have a lot of fun with Deadpool.
They're getting Sean Levy to direct. That got announced this week too.
Yes. So I think it's all part of the Kevin Feige plan, which means it's gonna have all these weird fourth wall breaking stuff, and I think it's gonna be like the mirror image of like Doctor Strange has got like a lot of horror film kind of, you know, things. And I think they had something this week too where like Kevin Feige was talking about like the director for the original director of Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. I think they parted ways with that person because of creative differences.
And then they brought in Sam Raimi.
Yeah, they brought in Sam Raimi for the rest of it. So it's like it's gonna have this kind of weird like horror sort of feel with it. And I just think that like I think you're gonna be able to like intersperse every scene of Multiverse of Madness with just like a close up of Deadpool going, ooh, or like having a reaction out of it the whole time.
I'm telling you, at some point in the next movie, Deadpool's just gonna look deadpan at the screen and go, "There was a merger," and then he's just gonna move on. Right? Like,
I mean, he's made a lot of jokes about Fox in the past 2 movies.
And I'm sure we will get some Mickey Mouse jokes.
Yeah.
Right as we go into Deadpool 3. Right. He's irreverent. He's great. So
speaking of Mickey Mouse, Disney workers are planning a walkout to protest the Don't Say Gay bill. down in Florida.
So do you want to hit? Can we hit on this one for a few minutes?
Yeah, let's go.
So here's the thing. So this is further proof that Bob Chapek is an idiot. Okay, I don't know what the board at Disney was thinking when they were like, yeah, we're going to go from Bob Iger, who is Hollywood, old school, like knows what he's doing, right?
Yeah.
We're going to go from Bob Iger, who was the CEO at the creation of the MCU. He was the CEO that acquired Lucasfilm. He was the CEO that acquired Fox. He was the CEO that took Disney out of the doldrums they were kind of in the early aughts, right?
Early aughts animation too, man, sucked.
Were bad. Like Disney, aside, if it wasn't for Pixar, like Disney would have had nothing in that era.
Well, no, they wouldn't. But even Pixar was starting to lag because they were having to deal with some of the corporate overflow from the rest of the company.
And we can come back to Pixar in a minute because I watched Turning Red today with my kiddo because she was home with a runny nose, and I'd like to talk about that. That's a good movie. So then they go to Bob Chapek. Bob Chapek was the head of the parks division. That's what he was. Disney Experiences, all the parks. Okay, and like we're gonna put Bob Chapek in charge. Okay, so here's what happens with the Don't Say Gay bill. Right, Florida passes the Don't Say Gay bill. Disney says nothing. Disney just doesn't react at all. Okay. At all. Then Bob Chapek releases a statement, I think 2 days ago, right?
I think it's about
and
2
he
days
says,
ago,
he says, I called Governor DeSantis and we had a very productive conversation and he's open to input and blah, 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 blah. And I'm sorry we didn't like put out a statement sooner. We don't like this. So Bob Chapek's like, yeah, I called Governor DeSantis and he's open to reopening the bill and fixing this and do. And the next freaking day, DeSantis is out here like, we will not be bullied by woke corporations. The woke corporations are not going to tell us. And he's obviously, and he references his conversation with Chapek.
Yeah.
Right? DeSantis isn't dumb, and either is Chapek. Okay? All Disney would have to do is go, we're going to close the park for 7 days.
Yeah.
7 days. We're going to shut down Disney World and all related parks for 7 days.
Yeah.
And if you don't get rid of this bill, we'll go 7 more. Right? And the chat's even in there with me. Lol, if Disney closed their doors until they turned it around, Florida would immediately do it. Exactly. Okay? Disney has the power to end this now. Okay? Here's the thing, and I'm going to point this out to you, okay? One of the states that's not doing it, because I know the threat's been made to this state because it's easier, right, is Georgia, right?
Yeah.
Disney specifically has moved a massive amount of their film production to Atlanta.
Yep.
Because they run out of the issues with the 30-mile zone in LA, right? And the minimums that are paid in the 30-mile zone related to Hollywood. And it's just cheaper to do stuff out there.
Well, they have a lot more space, too. It's a lot like working in the country around London. Like, Atlanta's been a production house for years.
Right. But all Disney would have to do, if Georgia tried the same trick, all Disney would have to do is go, we will move all of our productions out of Atlanta. And Georgia would be like, nope, please don't, okay, because they need the business.
Yeah. Not only that,
Chapek is an idiot because he should have seen that run from DeSantis coming.
Well, yeah.
Okay, you do not get on the phone with DeSantis, but we had a very productive conversation, right?
No, you don't try to play nice when it comes to that. You play hardball.
Especially with Ron DeSantis, right? You just don't, right? Okay, he says he called, and I'm going to read this because y'all need to understand, right? Bob Chapek, and this is why Chapek's an idiot. I understand our original approach, no matter how well intended, didn't get the job done. No crap, right? He called Governor Ron DeSantis to convey the company's disappointment and concern. and said the legislation becomes law could be used to unfairly target gay, lesbian, non-binary, transgender kids and families. The governor heard our concerns and agreed to meet with me and LGBTQ plus members of our senior team in Florida to discuss ways to address them. The next day, here's DeSantis' thing. Disney contacted our officers. The governor's position has not changed. No in-person meeting has been scheduled. Right?
Yeah.
What
they ghosted
did you... And quite frankly, at this point, look, like when people are like, Kathleen Kennedy's terrible, she needs to be fired. I ignore those people most.
Yeah.
And there have been a lot of people since Chapek came to be the CEO of Disney who've been like, Chapek needs to go. And I've resisted. Right?
Just doesn't seem like the right fit. To be as nice about it as I possibly can be. It doesn't seem like it's the right fit.
Chapek's got to go.
I mean, here's what you do. I'm gonna go full screen for just a second. Here's what you do. Game. There we go. This was an ad taken out in the Houston Chronicle for the Texas law against anti-LGBTQ. Look at all these signatures down here. That's a lot of shit.
Oh, that's how you do it. Through it.
And then you don't here's the headline.
Apple.
Discrimination is bad for business. That's it. That's all you had to say. No pretext. Yep. That's it. That's all the pretext you need. And it's everybody. It's Apple, it's Google, it's Ben and Jerry. I mean, you go down, it's PayPal, you go down the list of, all the people who were signing it and stuff like that. I think the other thing that would really, you need to have that kind of stuff in Florida. So Disney does need to take the charge because they're one of the bigger ones in there. But I would actually look at, of all places, and this actually becomes an interesting thought because, Russia is currently holding Brittany Griner, who's a WNBA star and former college basketball star at Baylor University. And they're holding her on what essentially is marijuana charges in Russia, which is probably a little shit. Because she is out as an LGBTQ, and she now is basically a political hostage in this whole saga that's going on between Russia and the United States and Ukraine and everything. But it kind of outlines of if the NCAA just basically said, okay, well, no more bowl games in Florida. Because the NCAA did that to South Carolina when they still had the Confederate flag flying over there. Yeah.
And Indiana, they did it when Pence tried the same bill before he was the vice president, and the NCAA and Indiana basketball is big.
Yep.
Basketball is really big. And the NCAA said, you pass that bill, we'll never put the Final Four in Indiana ever again.
Yep.
And guess what?
Yeah.
They revoked the bill within days.
And I think that's what needs to happen. Well, I know that the NCAA doesn't necessarily control the bowl games. Those are done by the bowl sponsorships themselves. The NCAA cannot recognize anybody that goes to the bowl games as anybody that's on the actually in the top 25. And the NCAA does control where the national championship plays, as well as the NFL, as well as MLB. You start taking away the entertainment properties in Florida, and there is nothing left but swamps. That is it.
Again, this is why Bob Chapek is weak, is that he came out with this milquetoast statement, and DeSantis immediately was like, they're full of crap. Screw Disney.
Yeah.
Right? And DeSantis is betting that he's tougher than Chapek and Disney. Right?
Sadly, he doesn't quite have as much money as those two, though.
Here's the thing, Disney's going to have to do it.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing.
Do something.
Well, here's the thing, and
they got a website up. Where is Chapek?
But here's the thing, though. I want to put the right piece on this, though. Is kudos to the Disney employees who are basically trying to hold the CEO accountable and say this isn't good enough. This is bullshit. You are, for lack of a better word, saying you are weak, and they are doing walkouts. They're doing all sorts of strikes and things like that to basically raise awareness. Just as if Florida did anything, or Disney did anything to Florida, if the people working at Disney did anything to Disney, they're screwed as well. Because while Disney can take a hit, they can't for the long run, and their PR and their marketing on this has to land. Otherwise, it's going to seriously hurt all the rest of their stuff. And at that point, stockholders and stuff like that, and those people are going to get involved, and then it's going to get real messy up at the top.
Even before this, right, there were rumors that some of the shareholders were going to do a push to the board to have him removed as CEO.
I could see it.
This is one of those things and that was before he screwed this up, right?
Yeah, because, everything that's happening right now is all Iger. He's just riding the wave right now.
He is riding the wave of all the success that Iger put into place. And Chapek has put some business people and not creatives in positions over their creative people, both at Marvel and at Lucasfilm.
That never works.
There is a lot of consternation about it. Bob Iger, the reason the MCU is the way the MCU is that Bob Iger told Kevin Feige, just do it.
Yeah, go make me money. I'll worry about the business. Go make me money.
And Kevin Feige succeeded.
Yeah.
And Lucasfilm has succeeded. They've done fine. Okay. They're profitable. Okay.
Very profitable.
Everything that Disney has done when they leave the creatives to do the creative stuff and they do the right thing, they're massive. Massive.
Yep. I was going to have a massive segue there, but I think the massive segue is that Elden Ring has sold 12 million copies already worldwide.
And apparently you can beat it in under 30 minutes.
On like New Game Plus 5 or some shit like that, probably.
No,
I
don't know. No, so it's an any percent speed run. So no completionist thing. You just get from beginning to end, like straight up start. And apparently they set a new record, and it is 28 minutes and 59 seconds to beat Elden Ring.
I want to watch this, actually. I don't know if we can watch it legally on stream. We probably can, because it's a game.
Oh, yeah.
But I want to watch it and just, like, see if they've had to do any of those, like, weird glitch things that you have to do in, like, that you get to do in, like, the Mario games when they do the speed runs and stuff like that. Like,
apparently this one, so the thing that I'm reading is it's apparently a section that you go to that lets you teleport all over the map, and then some bananas platforming.
Yeah. Which this game has had in spades, let's be honest. Someone's level 999. I believe that, because I have seen people going through new game after new game after new game, just harvesting.
I put the link to the speedrun in the chat if anybody wants to check that out later. I just think it's really interesting that you can do that. I think it's really fun that people are doing that, and good for Elden Ring.
Yeah, it's an interesting concept, and it brings back the MMORPG so much time. Yeah. It brings up the whole MMORPG kind of piece about it, because you can still do the same stuff you can do in Dark Souls, where you can like go in and do co-op or go in and do an invasion or whatever, and you could be doing PvP, and like the map on this one is massive compared to any other Souls game out there. But it seems a lot more fluid than most other Souls games too. I will be honest in you that I've been told never to play these games because they fear for my blood pressure, apparently.
Apparently you need to like keep like a notes app or a notebook next to you while you're playing Elden Ring, because there is no quest marker. There's nothing.
Yeah, there's no quest marker, no nothing. Like,
good luck.
Yeah, it's like Earthbound back in the day where you needed a guide.
Yeah.
Which there's probably like 80 guides now on the internet, so you can just keep that tab open on a second screen or in your phone or something like that.
I'm just glad that stuff that's not traditional is getting mass market.
Yes,
because that opens up the coffers for the business people. Kind of coming like swinging this back around to when we put business people in charge of things. If you can point to something that's not mass market, it's not like a Ubisoft clone or one of those ones with quest markers everywhere.
Well, okay, I'll let you finish, but I got something on that.
It will help the business people open the budgets to do more games like that, right? Success breeds success.
I'm just gonna say it. Somebody in the chat was like, at least with this, when you die, you don't lose your gear. I'm already still triggered from Tarkov. Stop that. I got rid of Tarkov. I'm done.
Oh, did you get rid of Tarkov finally?
I haven't played. I don't have enough time to play Tarkov. I haven't played in like months now. But so here's the thing, though. And I guess kudos for was it Namco Bandai that put this game out?
No, it's FromSoft.
Yeah, but I think it's actually published by Bandai Namco, I believe. Yeah. Kudos to them because they basically took The Legend of Zelda and made it, in an anime horror game. Like, you think about it, right? Like, open world, lots of different bosses to go kill, things to collect, no story that made any sense whatsoever, no map to go by for the most part, and no real decent UI with horses and arrows and jumping and all like that. It's the Legend of Zelda from Nintendo 64. That's it. That's all it is. Just more with prettier graphics. That's all it is.
Yeah.
I mean, kudos to them. It's a formula that works, let's be honest. So,
it's good.
I actually would like to see, as much as again, I don't play the game, but I do watch a lot of people who do play it because I find the content fun. And I see why they like to play the game. It's a lot of fun when you can sink your teeth into a game that for, was it a $59.99 game?
Yeah.
I think it's a standard $59.99 game. That people are just plowing through so much of content on this. And it just, like, value to price, and again, you can play it completely single player without any, online features and stuff like that. Like, that's a good deal. Like, I know I sound like a dad when I'm like, all right, it's a good deal. Slap the hood, But, like, for real, like, you don't get that in most games these days. Most of the time, it's like, all right, cool, and here's 15 things of DLC and color packs and all this kind of stuff. No, Elden Ring is just like, nah, go earn it the old-fashioned way. Have fun. Bye. So, they also gave the devs raises. I hadn't seen that part of it, but good on them if they did, because they probably worked really hard on this game. And it shows in the thought process. In the uniqueness of the bosses, which I learned about. We get back on the anime thing. What anime inspired Elden Ring? And I think it's called Berserk. Was the type of like anime horror from back in the day that apparently people absolutely love. And I didn't know that like Souls games and Bloodborne and all that stuff kind of basically took that style and everything from it. So yeah. So that was kind of an interesting, like, that's, again, you're just pulling from threads and stuff like that. Like, it's an interesting sort of like pull to it, So I don't know. It was like part Skyrim, part Legend of Zelda, from what I can kind of gather with it, with a very steep difficulty curve, which is, pretty much FromSoft's MO. Okay, going from anime horror, you said you wanted to talk about Turning Red.
Oh, yeah. So that's actually a lot more pleasant than anime horror. So I sat down and watched this, and I've seen some mixed reactions to this. Most critics have this as a must watch. I saw a lot of people who were poo-pooing it and naysaying it because it's like they were like, no, it's not for me. It's too tight. I'm telling you right now, right? I was never a teenage girl. Shocker. Shockers, right? Okay, I wasn't. But, and that's what this movie is about. Okay, this movie is about a teenage girl who's entering puberty and the relationship she has with her mother, right? Furthermore, I am not an Asian teenage girl, so I don't have that cultural reference to as part of my own life. this movie is universal. So everybody who's saying like, oh, it's a do, no, this movie is freaking universal. It is great. Pixar knocked it out of the park again. I'm gonna kick Bob Chapek in the face. Why this didn't get a major theatrical release, is literally beyond me.
It does feel a little weird. So I didn't watch all of this movie, but I did watch parts of it. My daughter was watching it over the weekend when it came out because now she's figured out how to like remind herself that certain things are releasing on Disney Plus. So I guess the marketing levers are working, which is fine because that's good. That's you want them to be able to see content, not watch the same Netflix episode 100 million times, right? Like,
yep.
And in true Pixar fashion, when they do it well, Pixar takes one tiny aspect of life and blows it out into this fantastical thing. Up was that way, Coco was that way, Cars was that way, Moana, Toy Story. Like they simple around this one single theme. Yeah, and they do such a great job just deep diving to a psychological level. On that, and it's fantastic.
What's the one with anger where she's got the emotions? Why can't I think of that?
Inside Out.
That movie.
Inside Out. Yep.
Another one of those. Chat's asking, would you say it's better than any of the newer Disney movies? Disney's such a wide brand now. You're gonna have to specify.
I think he's probably saying
more.
Disney animated movies.
Yeah. I mean, it's probably better than most of the Disney animated stuff that I've seen in the last couple of years.
Well, and it's also hard to separate Pixar from.
I think it's actually, I do think it's probably better than Encanto. It's definitely better than Raya the Last Dragon.
Was Encanto Pixar though? Or was it straight up Disney?
It's Disney.
Wow. Okay. All right.
I'm going through the list right now. Ron's Gone Wrong. Yes, it was better than that. Luca, definitely better than Luca. Yeah. Soul, I didn't actually see.
So, okay.
Onward.
Soul was another one of those ones that was like.
It flew under the radar.
Yeah, but it shouldn't have.
And it came out in the middle of the pandemic. Yeah, but I mean, it came out December of 2020. Yeah. And so there was just no way for them to do a theatrical release. Onward was good. It's better than, but it's, yeah, I mean, it's probably, you could make an argument for Encanto, but it's definitely between that and Encanto.
Like, I mean, Encanto is all about, like, I feel like I never have to see that movie because it's a Lin-Manuel Miranda soundtrack.
Yeah.
That's it. Like, that's the movie right there. So then they decide, like, Lin-Manuel Miranda came to Disney and was like, hey, I got this fire-ass soundtrack for you. And they were like, all right, well, guess we'll make a movie around it then.
Yeah.
Like,
so, yeah, to answer the chat, look at, for animated features, it's definitely probably, again, you can make an argument for Encanto, but it's definitely up there in the top releases since the start of the pandemic. And again, at a time when movie theaters are opening up again and people are going back out, why in God's name, Bob Chapek and the business fools over Disney, where you just had a movie.
You just hate him. You just hate him.
I hate. Look, because I can't think. So look, I'm left with a couple of options here, right? You got Spider-Man, headlined by a freaking milquetoast white guy. Right? But it did $1 billion in the box office. $1 billion.
Yeah.
Okay. You don't think Turning Red could have made its money back in the box office?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
At a time when the country's opening back up and people are actually going to the movies again. You're not worried right now whether people are willing to go to the theaters. They obviously are. Right? The Batman did crazy numbers. Right? All these movies are doing crazy numbers. Why you would push this straight to streaming, right? When it is the first Pixar movie, right, that you've had in almost a year And the first one you've had the opportunity to do a major theatrical release on because of COVID since before the pandemic. Because the last movie they released in theaters before the pandemic was Onward, which was totally fine. I thought it was a cute movie.
Yeah, it was great.
I watched it with my kid.
Fantastic.
It was okay, right? This is your first Pixar film
Yeah.
in freaking 2 years, and you were like, yeah, let's just stick it on Disney. No.
I will
No.
say, I'll be
It's
interested
a
to see
bad
what...
business decision.
I would love to see... Here's the thing, though. I'd actually love to see if this drove significant streaming numbers. Because while maybe critically acclaimed, if people don't stream it, then they're just going to look at the numbers and be like, okay, well, we made the right call.
Here's the thing. So 2 things. One, it got a crappy marketing plan. I don't know who did the marketing for this movie, but I didn't see much about it.
I
Right?
saw a ton about it ahead of time.
I saw so much more for so many other movies that I did not see hardly anything about this one. Comparatively. Number 2, it's all about that first watch, right? That's the marker for them, and they know it, right? When you subscribe, and I was reading some good articles on this. For most of the major streamers, the big metric they look for to determine whether a movie did what it was supposed to do for them is, when someone subscribes to Disney Plus, Netflix, whatever, what's the first movie they watch? What is the first piece of content that they spend more than 3 minutes with?
Yeah. Because
Okay.
you have to assume that that's the thing that drove them to get the stream in the first
To
place.
sign up for the subscription, because it's all about growth for them at this point.
Yeah.
Right? They're not worried about back-end numbers. They're worried about how many people are subscribing to Disney Plus, how many new subs are we getting every month,
Yeah.
right?
What's that content demand, Jen, look like?
Right. And so, because here's the thing, there is enough on Disney Plus, and I have Disney Plus. I've had it since it came out, right? I have the bundle with ESPN Plus and Hulu Plus, right? It's new subs.
Yeah.
They're gonna keep most everybody else. Anybody with kids and anything like, they're gonna keep those people. Once you sign up and you see the sheer volume of content on there, you're not gonna do it. And the way they do new content for their TV shows keeps you from unsubscribing, right? Because lest we forget, Book of Boba Fett just ended, and we're about to start Moon Knight, then Obi-Wan, and Miss Marvel.
Yep. And Miss Marvel and Obi-Wan are going to overlap slightly.
For the first time.
Yeah,
And that's
for the first
big
time.
news. Variety was talking about that the other day because Disney typically does not overlap their exclusive shows.
I think that's because of their movie release schedule coming up, and they need to get Marvel in there for a couple of
Probably.
reasons. And, you know, I think having things slip around the pandemic and stuff like that.
Done.
Yeah.
They need it. They need that show. There's something in that show that they need to show before Multiverse of Madness comes out.
Right. No, because it comes out afterwards. It's in June, isn't it?
No, I think it comes out. I think it'll Multiverse of Madness should come out right at the tail end. Oh no, it comes out right after Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah, it starts June
What comes
8th.
out this year?
Moon Knight starts on the 30th. She-Hulk comes out later this year too. And that's
I'm
the thing.
looking forward to that one too.
They've done some remix on that, I think, because they're basically letting the cat out of the bag that we're getting a new Daredevil season and all that kind of stuff, and she's going to be a part of it, and I think they're going to.
I love the actress they got for that, Tatiana Maslany,
Yeah,
is amazing,
I think it's going to be
and
fun.
I can't wait to see what she does with that character.
Well, and it's one of those, like, it's a throwback character to the 90s was the first time I really got into any of that stuff. And or at least the look of She-Hulk that I remember the most, right? And I think it's just going to be, I don't know, it's going to be a fun one. I think they're doing some reshoots and stuff like that because they're going to insert Charlie Cox and stuff like that and more in there than, you know, kind of like Spider-Man No Way Home episode. It won't be, I don't think it's going to be full-on Book of Boba Fett style where, like, there's a whole episode that doesn't have She-Hulk in it. But since they're both lawyers and stuff like that, I think there's going to be some more overlap.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
It makes a lot of sense. Here's my question. Since we know we got Charlie Cox back, because obviously we saw Daredevil in No Way Home.
No Way Home. Which is on streaming now, too, by the way.
Is it?
Yeah, it's on streaming now. Just, if you want to go back and relive the awesomeness of that movie about 100 times.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't realize it had hit streaming.
Yep, there's a giant billboard that has all 3 Spider-Men. Spoilers, by the way, for chat. There's a big billboard by my house now that has all 3 Spider-Men on it, talking about it being now on streaming.
Oh, so Disney Plus, it doesn't hit till the 20... Oh, no. March 15th. Yep. Ooh. Gotta watch that. But it's
more
all
good
pay. It's all pay streaming.
It'll come back though.
Yeah, it'll come back to free. That's all right. I don't know if I want to pay $20 for it yet. I haven't decided.
Yeah. What did you think?
So the question I was gonna ask you.
Yeah.
Are we gonna get any of the other Netflix characters? You think they're gonna bring them in?
If they don't bring in Luke
Daredevil?
Cage, then it's a crime. I don't care about Iron Fist. I did not watch Jessica Jones, though I want to because of David Tennant. I did watch Luke Cage.
That was rough. It was a rough watch.
It's a rough watch. I mean, it's a rough character, right? Like, I think they need to soften the hell out of some of that. Like,
they did a really good job with the PTSD and handling the sexual assault portions of it. All the stuff that's very touchy subjects. They did a really good job, but it is not an easy watch.
No.
And David Tennant does almost too good of a job being the Purple Man.
Yeah.
Chat says they keep talking about Punisher.
I'd be very careful on Punisher, considering how well that logo's been used by certain groups in America. And I think they're very aware of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would actually like to see the Defenders in some capacity. Like, you could
I enjoyed the Defender show.
I think that it's
that was fun.
Screw Iron Fist, because I think that was stupid. They need to recast that one. But Luke Cage was always been... I've liked that character for a long time. I like Jessica Jones's character. Like, I like who's playing it. I like Daredevil. I like all of that kind of stuff. I think they could have... again, like in every Marvel phase, like the long phases, right? If you think about like 4, 5, 6 or whatever like that, as it's leading up to New Avengers, they always have those like, on the street level kind of things. Then they've got the like big political Falcon Winter Soldier kind of things. And then you've got the big cosmic kind of things, right? And you're starting to see everybody get slotted into that stuff. And I think Spider-Man's going to be more on that ground level again with the Defenders, and like I think Miss Marvel's gonna go back to the cosmic with the Marvels movie coming out, and then where the X-Men and everything slot in is probably more in that political long form kind of thing. I think
that's
Fantastic
why I'm
Four.
really curious about Multiverse of Madness. We know Patrick Stewart's in it. We're all presuming he's playing Professor X of some version. That's really one that I am super curious about.
Yeah, I will say that the Miss. Yeah, good.
No, you're good.
No, I was gonna say the Miss Marvel trailer was quite lovely. I like what they're doing with it.
I like the John Hughes, the talk bubbles and all that stuff. Like,
they've changed up the character a little bit though, slightly.
That's what I'm actually looking forward to watching with my little one. Mm-hmm. Because, like, Falcon and the Winter Soldier was too cerebral. She's 7, right? Yeah. So a little too much for her. WandaVision, she just couldn't get into. Mm-hmm. And then Hawkeye, we watched a couple episodes. But I think she'll really like Miss Marvel.
Yeah. Mine is still very much into Naomi, the series. Mm-hmm. That one is still going really well, but I think this one fits right up in there, but it just has that, whereas the DC shows are still here, they're better than the movies. The Marvel shows are just that much better all the time.
Oh, yeah.
And so, presenting another, high school girl becoming a superhero kind of thing, I think is really going to tick a lot of boxes on some of that stuff. And just kind of the goofiness they do in that show, which matches the comic a lot.
Here's the thing.
It just looks fun.
you have to do that stuff, and it's how you keep these franchises going. It's also how you grow this community. And I'm actually gonna bring it back to D&D, right? Because we talk about D&D, and a lot of us are old farts playing D&D. So last night at the store, I had a dad, and I would guess the dad is probably early 30s, mid 30s maybe, but he was in there with his 12-year-old son, and he had actually messaged me previously about this, right? And I got to give a shout out to the community, because it was the dad's second session ever playing D&D, and the son's second session ever playing D&D, and the community really got into it, and they really helped the kid and the stuff out. But that's how you keep these things going. Everything can't be Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Everything can't be Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. If you want people to stay invested in these franchises and keep them going, you have to do stuff that's going to appeal to a younger audience.
Yeah.
You just have to.
You have to, and you have to find ways to adapt with the times, right? Like, it's a different world than when our generation got into superheroes and stuff like that. And it's a much more complex world in some ways. And you've got to be mindful of that, because again, at the end of the day, and I'm going to bring this to Identico just to close out the show, because this is, what we write. But like at the end of the day, all science fiction and literature like that is telling mostly allegorical stories to human life. Just like we said with Pixar, they take that one theme and they blow it out and they make amazing stuff around it and stuff like that. Sci-fi, fantasy, all that kind of stuff. Like, yeah, it's cool. And you got cool looking stuff and everything like that, but it still tells very human stories at the end of the day, because that's the connection, that's connective tissue to the audience. And, the more that people want to scream and yell and stuff about how they change characters and they do all these kind of things, man, it's just enjoy all of it. Enjoy all the permutations of it. Enjoy the ones you had back then. Enjoy the ones that are out now, because we could be watching, the news.
Yeah.
And, like, let's be real about that. Real world kind of sucks. So let's enjoy the fake world.
It does. And BitPlayer brings up a good point, chat. You have to break the stretch. Too much doom and gloom, and who's going to spend money to see that?
Exactly.
And that's the thing, is like, the world is stressful. Like, the real world sucks a lot of the time. It does. And so sometimes it's nice to get a good palate cleanser and watch a wholesome, nice story. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And I don't think it diminishes the art form in any way, shape, or form.
Well, and it also gives you something to fight for too, because like you're gonna see Ms. Marvel grow up through several parts of phases 5 and 6. I think we're in now. We're going to
we're at 4. We're at the end of 4 now.
End of 4, going into 5. So you're gonna see her grow up between 4, 5, and probably eventually into 6, right? And so by the time it reaches 6, it's gonna have that Spider-Man kind of like run up where you're like, oh, okay, yeah, she's taking on a lot of responsibility in this world, kind of thing. Because I think we're gonna have New Avengers is going to be the Avengers down there. It's gonna be. It might not even be called New Avengers, but that's what it's gonna be. It's gonna be younger ones out there.
Somebody pointed out this is actually the longest break we've had.
Yeah.
Since the MCU came out, since it premiered in 2008, this is the longest break we've had between the big team up movie.
Yeah.
Be that Avengers, Age of Ultron, Infinity War, and Endgame.
Good. They've got a lot more. They got a lot more world building before we're ready to get to that part.
To the next stuff, and so there's a lot of curiosity of when that announcement's going to come. Yeah. Because as of right now, there's nothing on the docket.
That's okay. They got enough things to work. They got enough things to work on. I think it's. I still feel the afterglow of Endgame. And because we've just had a steady drip of good Marvel stuff, I think it's okay. We can ride that for a little while, because you got Loki that's like way over here. You got Multiverse of Madness over here. It's the yarn wall is very, very peace.
Let's do this real quick, and then we can end the show, because chat brought this up. The guy who played Thunderbolt Ross in the MCU, also known for some amazing roles over his career from Broadcast News, which I think was his big premiere role back in 1970 something or other.
Let's talk about a gloom and doom movie right there.
Right. William Hurt passed away.
Yep. Which will be interesting because the Thunderbolts was going to be a thing that was going to be made.
I think they were working on that.
Yeah.
With all the stuff with Julie Dreyfus and all the other stuff. And so
they may just not have a Hulk, or they might make somebody else a Hulk. That's fine.
They're gonna have to do something. He had an amazing career, and
yeah,
it sucks.
Yeah. No, agreed. All right, man. Where can people find you, sir?
You can find me pretty much everywhere. All of the socials at Alex the Humanoid. And you can see me not this next Monday, but the Monday following on Chaos Inc. And if you're in the Seattle area, come join us for Identico at Gamers Heaven at 5116 196th Street Southwest. We will be running Identico tomorrow, and then we have another Identico session on Sunday.
Come on, hang out
tomorrow.
Yep.
Heck yeah.
Cool. You can find me everywhere at the Mallo Man. And I will see you all at Gamers Heaven tomorrow. And we will see you all back here next week. Remember, Monday's our week off from Chaos Incorporated, so we will have the replay coming up on Monday. Check our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Identico for that going up. Otherwise, until then, be good to yourselves, be good to each other, drink your water, take your vitamins, stay safe out there, stay weird. We love you, all right? Good night, everybody.